Hey, what's going on, you guys? It's your man James, aka JP, back again with the toy room. And if you guys saw my toy room tour, I want to say it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago at this point. You will see that I now have one of the rarest pieces of my collection, the Pokemon Pikachu Nintendo 64. I was at my local toy store. I was trading in some stuff, and I got $300 trading credit for the stuff that I was selling. I wasn't even really trading in, I was selling the stuff there, but it ended up being trading credit essentially because I saw that they had this N64 there, and it's such a rare piece to come across. Now, it's not like the most rarest thing in the world. There are a lot of collectors and YouTubers out there that have this same N64. They have the variants of the N64. I think it comes in orange and a lighter blue as well. Those were like Japan exclusives. But it's also not something that you come across every single day. So I definitely had to pick it up. I mean, it's not every day you come across the Pokemon Pikachu N64 in really great shape. It's basically flawless. And that lasted all of like 2 weeks, being one of the rarest things in my collection. Now, it's still pretty rare, don't get me wrong, but the thing I have in today's video, I think is even more rare than that N64 that I'm looking off to in the side right here. When I purchased that N64, the owner of the store told me he has something else that I might be interested in. And sure enough, he got me. He got me good. So, man, I just bit the bullet on this, and this is the Pokemon Pikachu VCR. Now, it's not exactly a matching set for the N64, but you can see like the similarities with it. It's a little bit of a different shade of blue, but I think this is even more rare than the N64. Now, obviously the big elephant in the room that you guys can see, it's not in good shape. Cosmetically, it needs a lot of work. Now, I bought this in hopes that maybe I can restore it, and if I am successful in restoring it, then I got one hell of a deal on this, because I got this for 120 bucks, and these things go for 300 brand new. Now, this is in working condition, so it does work. So even if cosmetically I can't fix it up, it still works. So at 120 bucks, you know, I don't think I can really go wrong here, because this is so rare. Like I said, the N64, you come across that at every convention, every Comic-Con that you go to, retro stores and whatever. You'll come across that, no problem. You won't come across this that often, or if ever. So there's, I think, maybe a couple, like a handful, maybe 4 listed on eBay in the entire world. I can find easily like 10 or more of those Pikachu N64. So that's going to be the goal of today's video, is to try and restore this. But I have no idea what to even attempt. This is new territory for me, because I'm not even sure what this is, to be honest. Like, if you look on the side here, you can see this is just yellowing. This I can take care of, no problem. I've done that countless times on this channel. Getting yellowing out, it's not hard at all. So I can get this yellowing out here, but getting whatever this is out, I don't even know, like these white bleach marks almost, it looks like they tried scrubbing it with something and it just went completely wrong. And it's even here on the top as well. I'm hoping that the method that I use to get the yellowing out will also work to get this out. I guess we'll have to wait and see. The back's in pretty good shape. There's a little bit of yellowing on the back. But that's the goal of today's video, is to try and restore this VCR. But it does work, so even if this goes completely wrong, I don't think I can make it look any worse than it looks now. And yeah, I don't know. So that's the whole goal of today's video. We're going to try and restore this VCR. I know this intro is a little long, but I had to give the backstory just so you guys are aware of what's going on. But I'm going to go ahead, try a couple different methods, see what works, do a voiceover and the tutorial of how I restore this thing, and then I'll probably catch you guys, I don't know, a couple days later, probably with a fresh haircut and everything, but we'll talk about how this ended up coming out. So yeah, without further ado, man, let's go ahead and get into the restoration of this very rare and very vintage Pokemon VCR. Alright, you guys, so here we are, just taking another quick look at the VCR, just so we can see a good before shot, so you can see all the yellowing that's on there, all the whiteness all over, whatever that stain is, it's all over. So I'm just starting by doing a simple wipe down with a wet paper towel, just to see if that does anything, which it didn't, but it's also just a good way to get any dirt that may be on the surface off just by wiping it down. So that's what we're doing, just a quick and simple wipe down. And then I noticed if I took my fingernail and scratched the white part, as you can see here, it kind of made it darker, almost like the color that it should be, which was very strange. Now, there wasn't actually anything peeling off, but as I scratched it, stuff was coming off. So I don't know what that was, but next I just took some dish soap and some warm water and tried scrubbing that off to see if that did anything. It was making a little bit of progress, but nothing really too much. I think it was more so the bristles of the toothbrush kind of having the same effect that my fingernail did. And up to this point, my fingernail was having the best effect, so I figured, you know, what the heck, let me just keep trying to scratch away at this. And as you can see, you know, it was making a difference. But the issue I ran into with the scratching process is that after a little bit of time of scratching it, the white would just return back to the surface. So I'm not really sure why it was changing colors as I scratched the plastic, but that is something that it was doing. So it was having a temporary solution, I guess, by scratching it, but at the end of the day, it still wasn't really doing anything. So we moved on from that process after a little while. I don't know how much scratching I did, but I just realized it's going to be way too much, and I wasn't really getting the results that I needed by scratching away at this. So we just continued on with some soap and water to see if that did anything, and it wasn't really making too much progress. It wasn't doing what I would hoped it would have done. So from this point on, we're just going to move on to the next step, and my next solution was using Salon Care 40 after I scratched it some more, of course. But we're going to use some Salon Care 40, and basically Salon Care 40 is going to help take out any of the yellowing that's in the plastics. Now, I've done several tutorials on what Salon Care 40 is and how to use it and how to restore yellowed video games or even sneakers with this method. So if you guys want a more in-depth tutorial on how to do it, I will leave that linked at the end of this video on the screen so you guys can check that out. But you can see, like, the scratching process was working, but it wasn't really doing what I needed to do. And like I said, after some time, that blue would just turn back to the white, whatever that white substance is that was all over the plastic. So there's a better look at, you know, the results we got just with the scratching method, which again, like, I don't understand why it worked or how it worked, but after some time it all just came back. So now we move on to the Salon Care 40, and like I said, this is going to help with the yellowing, and I am hoping that this will as well help with all the white substance that's on there. So all you need is some Salon Care 40, some saran wrap, and a toothbrush or a paintbrush. I don't know where my paintbrushes are, so I just opted to use an old toothbrush, and I just put it on there and just started applying it all over the surface, and as well as all the yellow areas on the side. Even if it didn't have the white substance that was all over the front, I still applied it to the side because, like I mentioned, this is going to help take care of all that yellowing as well and pull all of that yellowing out of the plastic to get it back to that nice vibrant blue that this VCR is. Alright, so now that we got all of the Salon Care 40 applied, we're just going to take our saran wrap and put it over all of the areas that we applied this Salon Care 40 to. And then once we do that, we're just going to leave it out in the sun. Basically, you're using the saran wrap to kind of trap the Salon Care 40 in to make sure that it doesn't dry up, essentially. And then once you put it in the sun, the UV rays from the sunlight, and you can also use, you know, a UV light as well, like an actual light bulb. You're going to use the UV rays to basically pull out. It's going to deoxidize everything and bring that color back to its vibrancy. So we're just going to leave it out in the sun. I was able to leave it out in the sun for, I think, about 2 hours before I ran out of sunlight. And then we just took it back into the bathroom and took the Salon Care 40 off. And now we're just going to wipe it down and see what the results are. Okay, so after a quick wipe down, you can see right there that the top was still very white. So even that scratching method from earlier, you see now it kind of, all that whiteness came back. So we're not really making any progress with all the solutions I tried. Soap and water, regular water, scratching at it, and using the Salon Care 40. None of that worked. Now the Salon Care 40 is going to work for the yellowing, but it needs more time in the sun. And now you can see as I scratch at it some more, that white starts to disappear again,
but after some time it just comes back. So at this point, I was running out of ideas. I was really hoping that Salon Care 4D method was going to work, but it didn't. So now I resorted to some rubbing alcohol, and this actually started working very well. It started breaking down, as you can see, it broke down all of the white, but it was very, very time consuming because I had to use a Q-tip, and the Q-tip only covers so much area at once, but I needed that Q-tip to be able to apply the pressure. A regular cotton swab or cotton ball would have covered more surface area, but wasn't going to give me that pressure that I needed. But this started working very well. You can see some of that blue coming off onto the Q-tip itself, and it's just breaking down all of that, whatever that white material is. I still have no idea what this even is on the surface. It looks like a glazed donut, but even that wasn't really working so well, and it was very, very time consuming. So my last effort was going to be this wax that I found. This is a boat wax, a marine wax that you would use on the outside of your boat, and I had it at work, and I figured let me try this. So I tried it, and the results were phenomenal. Such a big difference. So on the left I already applied it to, but now we're gonna apply it right here on the right hand side, and you'll see just what a difference this makes. Just that simple wipe down right there, you can already see that white material just disappeared from it, and it was just phenomenal results. So I went ahead, continued through the front, continued through the top, and the final results that we got were just phenomenal. So let's take a look at the final product.
Alright you guys, so here we are about a week later, hours and hours of scrubbing later, and we have the finished product. And honestly, it turned out better than I thought it was going to be, but it's still not 100%, but I think it's at a point where it's good enough, and we'll just go ahead and take a look. So here it is. So here's the front. So obviously you can see it is a lot better. I mean, you still, if you get up close on it, you can see there's still some white marks and whatnot. And it's not perfect, obviously, but considering where we started, and this side is probably the worst, considering where we started in the beginning of this video, I don't think it's too bad. And honestly, like, when you get up on it, sure, you can see everything, but just holding it, like, just hold it right there, honestly, doesn't look too bad. Now, coming to the top, this actually turned out a lot better than I thought it was going to. This, I want to say, was basically perfect. I mean, it came out as good as you can possibly get. And I did run into one issue with the wax that I was using. Once I used it on this top area, a little bit of the wax got onto this section right here, and kind of stained it, I guess. I've tried wiping it off with rubbing alcohol, with water, obviously. I even used a toothpick to try and get, like, in all the little grooves, because this is kind of like a textured, almost like a concrete-ish, like, type of material. You see it's got, like, this wrinkle finish. So I don't know if it messed it up or if it stained it or whatnot. So it's kind of a trade-off. Like, I got it off of here, but then got it on here. But me personally, I prefer having it here than on here. I don't know. I just think this area was so bad before, and the way that it looks now, I mean, it's honestly, like, perfect. Like, this section came out as perfect as you can get, which leads me to, like, the other thing with this is, even though this is all one piece, it feels like different type of plastic all the way through. So like this top section was a lot easier to get stuff off with the rubbing alcohol, and then obviously with the wax as well, and it just feels a lot different to the touch than this front part does, which is odd because it's literally all just one continuous piece. But I mean, this front section was giving me a lot of issues, and the reason I didn't really go too crazy with the wax on the front was because, as you can see right here, it actually kind of started getting rid of the logo on here, and I didn't want to, you know, end up wiping away the logo. So as you can see, the HQ is kind of starting to fade a little bit, and I didn't want to go through that. So, you know, I did what I could without going like too crazy with it, and luckily, you know, Pikachu VCR and Pokemon is still intact. But like I said, like if you get up close on it, you can definitely see, you know, that it's not perfect. But if you just look at it from right here, I mean, having this on the shelf, unless you're gonna get really close and inspect it, you wouldn't really know that it has the flaws that it has, which is good for me. It's good enough. And with how bad it was never going to be 100% perfect. So was it really worth, you know, making that $120 investment to get this? At the end of the day, I think so. I took a gamble on it, and honestly, like, Number one, when am I ever going to see this again? I'm never going to see this again. You don't ever see this in the wild. So the fact that I was able to come across it, I got a really good deal on it because of the condition it was in, and I was able to not 100% save it, but I would say maybe like 80%, you know, save it. Like I said, it's not perfect, but it gets the job done. So I'm pretty happy with it. Let me know what you guys think about this whole restoration. You know, it was a process. I'm sure, you know, watching the video doesn't look like much, but I spent literally like probably 5 hours of scrubbing this continuously, and then I discovered the wax thing, and that kind of went the process, made the process go just a little bit quicker. But it was still a fun video to make. I've been so excited to make this video because I just have such a passion for VHSs and VCRs. If you guys saw my live stream the other day, you know, you guys saw my VHS collection in the background. A lot of you had questions on it. If you guys want to see, you know, a VHS full collection tour type of thing, let me know, because I'll definitely do a video on that if you guys are interested in that. But that's gonna do it for me. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Share this video with your friends. Be sure to follow me on Instagram. That link's in the description down below. And I'm gonna go ahead and get on out of here. So as always, guys, stay tuned for more, and I'll see you guys next time.